immense pleasure to welcome you all to this very special evening at the Ladies Study Group. Today, our theme is Designing a Legacy, and I cannot think of an inspiring person more than our very special chief guest, Anamika Khanna. Anamika's journey is truly extraordinary. A self-taught designer, she began her journey in 1995 and went on to create a fashion vocabulary that is completely her own, contemporary, experimental, and deeply rooted in the Indian craft. In 2007, she became the first Indian woman to showcase her collection at the Paris Fashion Week, a landmark moment for the Indian fashion. Her work has also received international recognition through London Fashion Week and her association with Harrods. And what makes Anamika truly remarkable is the way she has reimagined Indian heritage for the modern woman. She has transformed traditional textiles, the sari, the dhoti, embroidery, and indigenous craftsmanship into contemporary global fashion. Her creations have been worn by some of the biggest names in Bollywood: Sonam Kapoor, Deepika Padukone, Kareena Kapoor, Alia Bhatt, Katrina Kaif, amongst many others. And her influence has reached the international stage with icons including Oprah Winfrey, Jennifer Lopez, Mary Blish wearing her creations. And most recently, global pop superstar Shakira wore a spectacular custom-made Anamika Khanna creation during her world tour, taking Indian design and craftsmanship to an even wider global influence. She has been recognized by leading fashion platforms and publications, including Elle, Vogue, India Today, Business or Fashion 500, and many others. Her influence also extends beyond fashion, with her support for causes including the Tata Medical Center in Kolkata and Akshay Patra Foundation. To me, that is what creating a legacy is all about. Having the courage to be different, creating something that did not exist before, and inspiring others to follow. We are equally delighted to have Kalyani Chawla in conversation with Anamika Khanna. Kalyani has created her own distinctive journey across fashion, luxury, entrepreneurship, and popular culture. She's associated with Rizwan Luxury Silverware, and many of us know her from Netflix, Fabulous Lives versus Bollywood Wives. Kalyani brings a wonderful perspective on reinvention, entrepreneurship, and staying relevant across different worlds. I'm certain that a conversation with Anamika will take us beyond fashion, into creativity, courage, ambition, and the choices that shape a lasting legacy. Because legacy is not simply what we leave behind, it is what we inspire others to carry forward. Anamika and Kalyani, thank you for being with us today and making this evening so special. And to all our members and guests, please sit back, enjoy, and be inspired by this wonderful conversation on designing a legacy. And we do have a special ramp walk. As you can see, the ramp has been created, which is there for the last. Welcome and have a wonderful evening. May I request Anamika and Kalyani to please come on stage. Over to you, Kalyani.
Good evening, everyone. It is such an honor to be here. Ladies Study Group has been doing such amazing work for so many years. Calcutta is also home for me. I left more than half my life I've spent away from Calcutta, but this is where my roots are. This is always going to be home. And thank you for having me here, and that too to chat with one of my favorite people in the whole world. And it's not a sweeping statement, it's a fact. And I have so much love and respect for my dear friend, Anamika Khanna. Thank you for having me. So, Anamika, I still remember the first time I met you. We were at dinner, and you were actually sitting next to me. And I turned around at some point. You were very reticent, very quiet. I asked you what you did. We've never met before. And you said you were getting into design of fashion designing. There was something about you that I noticed, which was your impeccable style. There's something about Anamika. And you have that understated elegance, and it was interesting because I was in the helm of fashion at that time, and you were absolutely opposite in terms of personality of being a fashion designer. How did you, looking back, suddenly decide that without any formal education, which is really interesting, on fashion, did you suddenly decide one day, okay, I'm going to become a fashion designer and make clothes and build this brand, which is, of course, incredible?
Kalyani, thank you. I'm going to just take a minute and thank all of LSG and all of you to be here. It's a strange feeling to be speaking in Kolkata, almost as if I'm sitting at home and chatting with my friends. Thank you for having me. It is an honor. Thank you. And I've been having a lot of fun. However much I might crib about time, I'm having fun. Kalyani, thank you for those words. I know that I deserve some and I don't deserve that much. My journey was an accident. I didn't sit and plan that I'm going to be making this brand and I'm going to be building a business. 30 years ago, I don't think we thought so much that I'm going to have a career. And, it was just one day at a time. You wanted to do different things. There was some award competition. I sent my sketches, and they insisted that I do a fashion show, which is 6 garments. I didn't know how to make clothes, and I got thrown into it. But the minute I got thrown into it, I knew that I had tasted blood. After that, I knew nothing else. And for me, not having gone to design school, slowly by slowly, started becoming an advantage. Because I didn't know what was in the box of design school, right? So I was experimenting on my own. I've made terrible, terrible mistakes. Some of you actually wear some of my mistakes looking back, and I'm like, I don't know how I sold this. But that's what it was. And for me, automatically, once I got into design, I think it was somewhere in my genes with my beautiful mom sitting here. She's an impeccable crafts. Actually, whatever she does is fine. My nani, we've grown up feeling those textiles, those embroideries that came out of her trunk, the beautiful jewelry that they had. And somewhere or the other, also that discipline and that problem of perfection. Like I mentioned, my mom, every other day she says, "Kya kare perfection ki bimari hai." I think it's percolated down to all of us, that problem of perfection. So one step at a time, one garment at a time, slow start, and that's where I am.
Which is pretty incredible because, you can tell an Anamika Khanna outfit from a mile. It's like a, Hussein painting, or it's so distinct. You have a very distinct signature. And, your embroideries, that's your signature, right? You've also pioneered actually so many silhouettes, like the dhoti pant, the cape over the sari, the drapes that you have on the skirts even. When there is, and I'm not going to be polite about this, plagiarism, being copied, this is not even inspiration, it's just blind copying. And I feel actually very strongly about this, and I want your take on this because, you know, Raison, my brand, is the most copied silverware brand. I mean, I feel violated. I get aggressively angry when I see copies. How do you feel? Because, I mean, it's all over.
Kalyani, I'm going to take this in two parts. The thing about being recognized from a distance is because for the last 30 years, maybe, I've just stayed true to my design. I've stayed honest to what I do. For me, craft is not something that I put on a garment. It's not like I take an embroidery and I think about putting it on a garment. It's part of the whole journey. About discovering new things, it's actually kind of, you know, sometimes you feel proud that you have discovered or invented few things that have become part of the Indian vocabulary. So right now when somebody else makes a cape or someone else wears a dhoti, I don't even feel plagiarized because I feel just like the kurta or the salwar, it's become part of the Indian dress code and I feel proud and I'm fine about it. What I do feel angry about sometimes is that when people lift the design without thinking about it, they are not understanding how much has gone behind to make something. And when they just copy it and copy paste it and sell it cheaper and they put a polyester and they do stuff like that, that bothers me. That's unfair. Although now I'm like, I've just given up. Like, the more you copy, the harder I'll make it to copy. So my designs are getting complicated. Sometimes I can't repeat my own designs. And I also feel it pushes me to move on. Because suppose I've done a design and it's been copied and somebody comes to me, ये तो बहुत common है. It's like, okay, I'll move on to the next one then. Copy something else. It's like, it's become a journey now. At the same time, for me, to discover something it's not about designing, it's about solving problems. And that's why I design. You know, I look at something and I'm like, okay, how do I make it easier for a woman? How do I make it more sexy for a woman? How do I make her look? I know the problems of being a woman. Today I'm feeling fine. Tomorrow my stomach is so bloated, nothing will fit. Day after tomorrow, something's wrong with my face and the next day I'm fine. And I'm sure we all go through this. So I solve problems. And that problem then converts into a solution. I converted the sari into a dress because I felt there's a problem. The cape came because I wanted that ease, but I wanted glamour, I wanted sexy. And yet I didn't want women to think, oh, they have to hold something in their hands. So for me, it's that journey. The dhoti was the same. I was fascinated by something so common that people are forgetting that there is a dhoti that exists in India. So I called my Oja ji and I told him, as mannequin mein aap dhoti bandhana sikhaiye humko. He thought I'm crazy, but you know that 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, we just kept cutting it, snipping it, adding fabric, removing fabric, making it practical. So for me, it comes from there. I'm just like solving problems.
No, there's so much of hard work, honestly, so much of R&D, and you said, you never get it right because sometimes it's all in your head, right? And yes, I think that's what makes me really upset. And cheap copies, as you mentioned, is probably worse.
No, I mean, how much can you struggle about the same thing?
Yeah.
You know, you just move on, and that's the interesting thing is that if somebody is copying, they are just copying the exterior of it. They can't take away what I feel, what I see.
Also the quality and
so I've worked on a cape for like years to come to something, right? So the way the shoulder is, where it falls, why it falls a certain way, that you can't take away. So copy what to do.
But a copy is a copy, and a real client will never go for that. So that's only the compensation that we have.
It's all right.
Your trajectory has been staggering, almost from day one. Those days, and no advertising, no social media as such, you got recognized very quickly by some of the most stylish people who wore your clothes and got you the kind of attention that you absolutely deserved. And it was largely word of mouth, I think, in the beginning. What do you think is the Anamika Khanna USP? That's a unique selling point, which
I-
makes it so distinct.
I think you're right about the word of mouth. There was no other option. There was no social media. There was nothing. So it had to be word of mouth. The other thing was that for me, and I hope that whoever wears our clothes feel that, it starts from a place of love. It doesn't start with a math of how much money I'm going to make on a garment. It just starts with that. Besides that, I've always respected the fact that the garment is not about the garment. It has to take the personality of the person wearing it. And I've stuck to that. I'm never going to say that this is my outfit, now you wear it as it is. I'm going to see whether it works for you. And that's something that makes it unique to us. The other thing is, of course, it has to be subtle, it has to be understated, it has to be experimental, it has to be out of the box, it has to be filled with love. And that's the reason I think, I also think that my one USP, which I feel I really cherish, is maybe my relationship with people. You know, for me, it's never about a bride sitting next to me making her outfit and charging a certain amount of money. I have now intuitively started getting into the lives of that, into the mind and into the heart and what they're feeling. So my relationship with people becomes a part of what I'm making. It's never about just the outfit to sell. So yeah, maybe that's why, I've got friends, I've got support, I've got people who like to wear my clothes, who come back to me, and then they come back to me as friends.
You know, half your USP, apart from your amazing talent, is you. Yeah, it's true because
you.
you're there. I see you when you come to Delhi. There are brides falling over each other, but Anamika in her calm, quiet, zen-like state will make time for each one of them. And I've watched it. You know, I've been there, and it's actually a very unique personality trait. And I think end of the day, it really does matter because I get wedding clients coming all the time. The mothers know that, okay, Kalyani is taking care of this order, but the 1,000 things that they have to do, just like they know, okay, that lehenga is going to be perfect. We don't have to think about it once you've confirmed it. And I think it's a very, very important part of doing any business today. You know, this, at least our kind of business, where you have to interact with the people, you have to build that relationship. So the mothers came, then the daughters come, then the sisters get married, the sister comes, or, friends, etc. I think personal relationships, my life runs on that, my business runs on that, and I think it's paramount in no matter what you do.
I 100% agree with you. I don't think it's only, you can't create that piece of, that special piece without feeling the connection, the emotion, and the love for it.
Very true.
Then you make your other stuff and sell it, but it's not going to be that.
No.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
And I'm full of gratitude and I feel blessed. I take my friends for granted. I take my family for granted. I take the whole city. There's a joke going on, don't touch Anamika in Calcutta. The amount of support that I have, I really, really do feel blessed. So yeah.
All over, pan-India.
Thank you.
And now across the borders.
Well, fingers crossed.
There's this extraordinary side of your life, which is your twins. As a mother, building a career, and they're firstly twins. I mean, I have one equivalent to an army. I will never understand how you all manage with twins. And they are so wonderful. And building a business when children are growing up, just being a mother, dropping them to school, picking them up, exams, homework, being present, it's tough. And you had your trajectory during that period when the boys were really little. Was there a sense of constant guilt? I'm asking because this is personal. I did, and I still suffer from that guilt that I didn't spend enough time with my daughter working 18 hours a day, building a brand, building a business. Tell me a little bit about that.
Um, I would really be curious to know, as a mother, whose life is balanced. I don't think just being a woman whose life is balanced, you know. A lot of people say, oh, you have it easy, you have so much going on. And when the kids were small, I was struggling almost every single day, even to drink a glass of water. It was that hard. I had to compromise on a lot of things. I still do. It was a constant feeling of guilt. It was always trying to overcompensate because you were busy in other things. I wanted to be a great mom, so I would actually literally overcompensate. I remember not having slept for nights at an end. I remember, and of course, I want to drop them to school, I want to take them to golf, I want to go swimming with them, I want to do this, but I was not this mom who's like this helicopter trying to tell them now eat this and do that and go for this class. I was not that mom. I was an easy mom. And I think from the very beginning, the boys may have realized that they have the emotional presence of their mom for whom, besides them, nothing is greater. And I've felt that with my parents. And obviously, I had that support too. I have my family, my husband, my mother-in-law, my mom, dad, everybody around me. I had that support. But even then, it was just hard. And it never gets easier. You keep thinking, okay, now they're older. Now they're chewing your brains in different ways. But it's a part of life. But this whole thing, when a lot of people tell me, okay, you need to balance your life, you need to take it easy, ab itni zarurat nahi hai, don't do it. And I'll just keep thinking, if I do mediocre things and if I find the balance and if I want to take it easy and I want to go out, that's the kind of clothes you'll get. Isn't it? I mean, to be there, you got to give that.
No, also you can't in any way compromise, and especially with the
Absolutely.
kind of brand that you have built, there is no sense of compromise at all.
And I don't even wish to. I don't want to do anything which is balanced or average. I don't want to live a boring life.
Yeah.
I want to just push myself as much as I can. Let's see.
Yeah, you've set the bar really, really high.
Well, for myself too. Every
Yes.
day I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's start again. So, yeah.
Your relationship with your sons is incredibly special. Both of them are so talented in their own right. We often talk about children joining the family business. I mean, it's a matter of succession, more so in India. You expect the children to come back home, join the family business. And they are both today involved. What does it, you've already built this amazing brand and your sons are, of course, helping you out. But I think there's this whole emotional support as well to have them around for you. And what has it changed in terms of your business since they have joined you?
I do have an extraordinary relationship with my boys. It's very interesting because it comes out of this place of extreme emotional security and trust. All of us are artists in our own right. And, today, if Viraj has done a piece of art, Vishesh and I will sit down and say, please burn this. It's not worth it. And he'll just go and burn it without asking a question or feeling bad. Vishesh will come and tell me, Mom, these clothes are looking old and it's old-fashioned and it doesn't work today and you got to change this, you got to change. And I'm listening. I'm not, so I have that deep respect for whatever they have learned. And it's really interesting that both the boys in my life bring this. With Viraj, I find him extremely courageous in his art. Sometimes I look at what he's doing and I'm like, what are you doing? And he has the courage to just put his mind out there, fearless. He goes to America and he does this whole piece on Indian weddings, and it's a satire, and he's put it out there in a New York gallery making fun of everything that's going on. You need courage to do that, and I learned that from him. With Vishesh, I learned this extreme sense of empathy, which is actually a lesson for me. And for me, it becomes like a really beautiful journey when we're all feeding off each other. About legacy, from the very beginning, I have felt that the boys should not be burdened, that they have Anamika Khanna and now they need to run this. I've always felt that, I want to leave it in a way that they feel empowered enough to take from where I have left off or where I'm working with them and take it to their own journey. I'm not expecting them to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm expecting them to build off and take it to a place where I couldn't take it. And that's very interesting journey for me. Besides that, when you ask of what difference that it's making, obviously a lot is being taken care of. Say, for example, we're signing a store, and I'm like, Viraj, can you handle this? And he, or if he tells me that, okay, don't take this decision, and I don't take that decision. Sometimes they'll come and say, no, you're not going to do this collaboration with this brand. It's not working for us. I don't ask questions. So that has changed. And of course, a very interesting thing is happening right now is that our brand is being infused with younger energy every day. Otherwise, if left to me, I'm becoming an auntie, I'll make auntie clothes. Na? So somebody has to keep tightening me and asking me that. So thank you. Vishesh will ask me almost every day, especially about AKOK when I'm designing them. Mom, would you wear it when you were 20? And I'm like, no. Then he's like, then? So, it's that constant, you have to just push yourself to make sure that you're thinking like a 20-year-old also. So that change is coming. It just keeps us alive.
It's interesting because, you get a young person's perspective, especially with garments and fashion. And you're right, because as we grow older, we are kind of dressing ourselves, So
Exactly.
that you're lucky. You're super lucky to have that opinion.
Yeah.
And
I
yes.
feel blessed that I have that opinion. I can go into, and he keeps telling me that, yeah, my friends are not going to wear this. My friends are not going to buy this. And I understand why he's telling me that. So it's making a difference.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm constantly complaining, and you know
I
that.
know.
So a few years ago, we were on the phone, and the first thing I said, oh, hi, gosh, I'm already tired. And it was in the morning. We were both driving to work. And you gave me a walloping on the phone and lectured me about how lackadaisical I was about my health and saying all this work and all this working hard and all your complaining will not take you anywhere if you're not going to look after your health. And this was particularly apt at that time because you had gone through a terrible ailment and you were so sick and scared the life out of all of us. And right after that. And you particularly, I think, spoke to me a lot. We both spoke about not just the physical side of the pain that one had gone through, but you had gone through rather at that particular time, but also mental health, which I have suffered from immensely. And I won't forget that conversation because it was also, we had all gone through this COVID and it was a crazy time for all of us. But do you think for a working, successful women like us, we let our own wellness slide somewhere down the line?
I don't think it's just about working women who let themselves slide. I think women in general have the habit of putting themselves last. In this country, that's how we've been brought up. That's what we do. Having said that, personally, I took myself for granted. I was living a lifestyle that I'm ashamed of right now, of having I worked with stress. I was continuously tired, I was continuously running, and I was continuously taking other people's stress onto me. And I took myself for granted. So I was burning this oil which was depleting and depleting and depleting. But I still thought nothing's going to happen to me, which is what we all think. We take ourselves for granted and we say that nothing's going to happen to me. I'll push a little bit more. I'll sleep little less. I'll wake up a little more early. I'll rest after 2 days. I'll eat better after 5 days. And we do that to ourselves, which is what I did to myself. And I ignored a lot of stuff that was happening to me. And one fine day, I landed up in the hospital. That also, the doctors booked my room in the hospital. He has done it himself, and I've gone to work for half an hour instead of checking in. That's how much I took myself for granted. Having said that, I did go through 1 year of like an internal trauma that maybe I'll never recover because I wasn't being able to design. For me, it was like, if I can't design, that's the end of my life, right? Because this has gone into my blood and this is what I live for. But if I can't even think straight, walk straight, and some doctors telling me that you need to take medicines to come out of this, and some other doctors telling you this, and somebody's taking you to Singapore for a checkup, what do you go through? And that's when I realized that if I'm going to be like this, life is over for me. Having said that, I did come out of it in the most incredible way because, like I told you, I'm this blessed soul who has this support and blessings of the whole world somehow. And today, I'm sitting here, I'm probably doing 10 to 15 times more work than I did before. But I had to make my changes. There was no option. Thank you.
So talking about doing 10 folds more,
I'm actually going to add to that. And this is something because we're all women, and I want to share this, that I'm able to do 15 times more. Of course, I've compromised a lot of things in my life, and I don't show up to people's places, and I make a lot of excuses, and I make the randomest of excuses, but I don't take stress anymore. Like if a wedding lehenga is delayed by a few days because something is wrong, in earlier times, I would freak out and I would do whatever I needed to do, and the whole journey would be super stressful. Now I will speak to the people involved, try to see how we can solve it, and I will pick up the phone and I speak to the bride that this is what has happened, this is the situation, we're doing our best, what can we do? That's the change in my own attitude. I will work out every day. I will take out that time. Every time I'm in the gym or if my trainer's at home, my mother will call, Fir se. I was like, fir se. It's a routine every day in my life, but I will do it. I will wake up earlier than other people so I can get that 1 hour of my time. I will sleep at 9:30 or 10, I'm out. I switch my phone off. Whatever happens at 9:30, you can't find me after that. And I will do those things. And I really feel that all of us as women need to take a step back and see that can we incorporate that sense of well-being into us without feeling guilty.
I think switching the phone off.
I'll switch off.
It's key. It's absolute key. My clients call me like, Acha, that box was supposed to come. Do you think it'll be ready tomorrow? And I'm like, it's 11:30 at night.
Yeah. I mean, now people ask me for appointments. Like somebody will ask me at midnight that mera outfit. I said, ye time pe puchoge to वैसे ही outfit मिलेगा. So like, what do? You need to switch off sometime.
Yeah, you do. Coming back to, yes, doing so much more, you created AKOK, your Pret line, which I think was so clever, much needed, and it's a completely different look. Look at this. And I think what you have done with the brand is incredible. So much so that you got this amazing partner, investor, the Reliance Group, to back you, which is fantastic. Interestingly enough, I mean, we are all looking for investors, right? Because with that, you get, like, I have a self-funded business, and all I prayed for many years now, though mine is just still a startup, is to get an investor in. And, well, I just have one, by the way.
We'll get to that.
Thank you. But you have kept your label, Anamika Khanna Couture, to yourself, and you have not given that into the bag for Reliance, right? What was the thought process behind it? Because, yeah, there's no because actually. I would love to know why. Because one would imagine the other way around, you know? So it's very interesting that you did that with AKOK and not with Anamika Khanna, the label.
Actually, it's a very funny story. All these stories that I'm going to share now, when I look back, I find it funny. AKOK was something I had in my mind that I want to create a brand which is more ready to wear, because I wasn't being able to wear my own clothes and spend the day. It was painful. So like we need something which is easy, yet something which is dressy, yet it's loungy, yet it's that word millennial got stuck in my head, that these young kids have nothing to wear. So let me just create something very young and whatever. And then soon I realized that we had accidentally created a brand which was not just for the young people, it was more like a, you know, a person who fitted into that space.
It's almost like building a community.
Yeah, it was almost, actually it was like that. So you could be 20, you could be 70, but you can still find an AKOK relevant. That was one part. The other thing is, actually the brand started again by accident. I think everything in my life is happening by accident. In the hospital, whilst I was there, probably feeling under, my boys had just come from America, and one of them said, don't worry, Mama, everything will be A-okay. And then the other one, now I don't know which one, who said what, but the other one said, don't worry, Mama, if it's okay, then it's AK. Yeah. And then the other one said, but everything is AK when it's okay. And that's how AKOK started. And that's what AKOK is, that everything is AKOK. I was shocked. I was like, how can you have a brand which is in my name, AKOK? Isn't it very, you know, like, is it not sounding like I'm full of myself? But anyway, we were having fun. I didn't realize it will take this shape. You know, we started selling out really quickly, and of course, Reliance was interested only in my main brand. And I was like, this is what is there. My main brand, I'm not going to touch now. It was not a decision about investment, Kalyani. It was more about this emotional journey that we were having. Because Anamika Khanna, for me, is my legacy. And of course, I'm open to what will come in the future. I'm not saying that we're closed off to anything. But I don't want to get investment for the sake of the money. I want to get a partner into the business who will understand that we've stayed true to a certain kind of product that we make. I have not given into the digital embroideries that are happening. We're still completely hand-driven. And luxury will have a limitation. I will not be able to produce endlessly. So I'm thinking, am I going to get into a trap of opening stores, of meeting numbers, of, you know, being forced to take decisions which I don't want to take? So I'm taking my time, trying to figure it out, and we'll see as it goes. And about investment, it'll be great to know actually what's going on with you.
Oh, well, my business, which is 8 years old, Raison, it's so tough to actually, as you know, to scale up, you know, to increase production, and then, or I want to have stores everywhere in India. My only store is in Delhi. I only have one retail store. And it is tough. It is because it's self-funded.
May I just interject for 1 second?
Yes.
I don't know what is tough. I really don't understand that
You're
word
a
anymore.
superwoman.
No.
No,
It's in our head.
I'm a superwoman.
See, if I keep calling something tough, it's tough. And if I come and sit here, I'm having this massive day today, okay? It's been like 1 hour after the other, 1 hour after the other. But being present in the moment, I don't find it tough.
No, you have to be present in the moment. And I think, I mean, I do a lot more than just Raison, as you know.
You're
you
a
know.
star, we know
Yeah.
that.
No. That's the least of my claim to fame. But I consult with international brands, and I'm working with these amazing brands, doing so much, and etc. etc. Always multitasking with my art, and all that stuff. But it is tough. Answering your question, I think it's a blessing. Today, I'm super excited that I'll be able to do a lot more than I could on my own. I'm not the kind of person, I think it's some Bengali trait, like never lend, never borrow kind of a situation. So yeah, thank God I was debt-free, which was a huge advantage. And yeah, now I have some help. Now you have your sons, you've had your family involved, but I did not have that luxury, I'm a self-made woman. I built my, from ground level onwards, built my brand, which has been tough. And yes, it is tough. It was tough, but I never let that bring me down. I've kind of
course not,
soldiered
right?
ahead.
Do you not think, and I'm sure a lot of us will agree, yesterday I was at a YPO strategy session. Now, don't ask me why, but, and somebody asked me, how do you do this? Why are you chapter chair? What are you doing? And I'm like, you know what? The more I have to do, the more I can do because I just organize myself better. I just deal with things better and I separate out what I don't need to do. And that's how it works.
Yeah, my father once asked me, again, you've taken up something.
Exactly.
And I'm like, but what have I done badly?
Yeah.
Because I've never done one thing in my life. I've always multitasked. I think I get bored so easily. So there's something to keep me busy 24 hours. Now, you have built, this is my last question, but you built this amazing brand. It's not just pan-India, you've taken it global, had these amazing collaborations, and what a huge success H&M was. In fact, my daughter had gone and she was feeling, she said, like a peacock. She was so
madness.
proud.
I think H&M was madness, so I don't know what to say.
No, but this is such a proud moment, honestly. And I just want to ask you, in spite of everything that you've done, I'm sure, knowing your brilliant mind, I mean, there must be that little hunger still, and to do that much more, to do something special or excel the excellence on your path of your journey. What could possibly be the next thing?
It's actually interesting that you ask me this question because it helps me think back. Earlier, I was struggling to survive, to make it, to make things happen. Today, I've reached a place where I want to live my design life with curiosity. I want to experiment with Indian craft and technology. I want to take the Indianness out of the Indian clothes and still keep it Indian. I want to push the boundary because now I have the liberty to do so. So if I take a risk, if I do something wrong, I'm allowed to make that mistake right now. Sometimes it even gets passed off as not a mistake when I know it's a mistake. So I've got that. So going forward, I'm going to be really looking at things which are in everyday life and pushing them to the ceiling and let people think that, oh, this was also possible. This is that time in my life. I'm also, of course, it's a very interesting time for me because AKOK is relatively newer. And now when we take it international, you know that feeling that you're this queen sitting in India for 30 years and everyone knows you and blah, blah, blah. And then you go to a London or a Paris and you do a show and they treat you like a new kid on the block who knows nothing and as a new brand and, whatever. It's a very humbling feeling. It's a new journey starting again and people don't understand that. And only when they ask you, okay, can we see your profile? Can we know what you've done? They're like, oh, what's going on? But actually, you're a new kid on the block again. So, it's like you're 50-something and you go to class and people look back and, what is she doing? Because all the others are coming out of design school and I'm sitting there trying to make a brand again. it's that journey of my life. But AK now is also going to do a lot of international work, so that's going to be like, it's a new journey now.
And Paris coming up now.
Paris is coming up. yeah.
That's big. That's
It's not just
major.
big. It's like I said,
It's
it's
major.
almost. You wake up. This is what fashion is about. Every single day, you will get judged in your life, and Paris. It's like hit or miss, right? Either they will love you to death, or they'll just let you go. What if they just be like, okay, please leave Paris? What if that happens? So that journey also you go through, and it's great.
Paris is going to love you.
Let's see.
I
Let's see.
know
Fingers
it.
crossed. Thank you.
So I'm going to make it really short because I had a few fun rapid fire questions. We're going to make it short so that anyone may want to ask Anamika something, they could after that, right? Okay, we make it short. I had too many questions, but I'm not going to ask you everything. What is your greatest strength?
My courage.
What is your biggest weakness?
My inability to say no. Okay, I'll not answer this full question right now. I'll answer this after 20, 30 minutes.
Okay. What is your most irrational fear?
That I'll wake up in the morning and not be able to pick up a pen and sketch.
Oh,
It is my fear.
that's not happening. What makes you instantly happy?
Actually, I think I'm a happy person. But instantly, get me that piece of pink strawberry from Flurries. You know that little cake? Just eat it from the top. It's a weird thing, right? But it makes me happy just to look at it.
What is your one pet peeve?
Oh my God, I have so many. At this moment, I really can't think of it. But
Okay.
yeah.
What does success mean to you?
It's irrelevant. Success is in the head, and once you think you're successful, your growth will stop, so it's irrelevant.
What is a fashion faux pas? No, don't answer it. You'll probably make it a trend, so no.
No,
Okay.
that's not true. But
What is the one thing?
I have worn a sari ulta once, and somebody thought I've done something really cool, and I realized, oh shit, I'm wearing
Yeah,
it
it just
ulta.
became a trend. Everyone was
So,
wearing
yeah.
ulta saris in Calcutta. Amazing. Yeah, I remember that time.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was
what
in a
is
hurry.
what is the one thing that your sons have taught you?
Actually, they've taught me humility.
Oh,
They have.
that's amazing. What do you want to be remembered for?
Actually, not remembered, but when I die, I want at least somebody to say I have nothing to wear now. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kalyani.
Should we ask, would anyone like to ask?
You mean between the Indian and the international fashion shows? Actually, a lot of bridges are being closed now. A lot of Indian fashion shows are almost international, and internationally they're looking at India. But having said that, showing in India, we have our own comfort zone and space. When you go out and you're in a fashion show, they don't even give you a glass of water, and you're fine with that. So everything is very to the point. It's professional. But here we're like, I just had a fashion show where my most time spent was in the dinner menu for the guests. So that's a difference.
Good evening, friends. We are not ending the session right now. I would request Anamika and Ms. Kalyani Chawla to please come back and take a seat here. We have a short ramp walk by our committee members to end the session. Thank you.
We were living in slow motion, dancing in the broken moments. Now I'm stuck in yesterday, and you keep slipping far away. You were everything I need. Now you're just चलते यूं ही कोई मिल गया था, यूं ही कोई मिल गया था, सरे राह चलते चलते, सरे राह चलते चलते, वहीं थम के रह गई है, वहीं थम के रह गई है, मेरी रात ढलते ढलते, मेरी रात ढलते ढलते। जो कहीं गई ना मुझसे, जो कहीं गई ना मुझसे, वो ज़माना कह रहा है, वो ज़माना कह रहा है कि फसाना बन गई है मेरी बात चलते चलते, मेरी बात चलते चलते, यूं ही कोई मिल गया था, यूं ही कोई मिल गया था, सरे राह चलते चलते, सरे राह चलते चलते। We were living in slow motion, dancing in the broken moments. Now I'm stuck in yesterday, and you keep slipping far away. You were everything I need, now you're just a memory. All the nights we held so close, turning into fading Polaroids. शब इंतज़ार आखिर, शब इंतज़ार आखिर, कभी होगी मुख्तसर भी, कभी होगी मुख्तसर भी, ये चिराग बुझ रहे हैं मेरे साथ जलते जलते, मेरे साथ जलते जलते, ये चिराग बुझ रहे हैं, 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 मेरे साथ जलते जलते, मेरे साथ जलते जलते, यूं ही कोई मिल गया था, यूं ही कोई मिल गया था, सरे राह चलते चलते, सरे राह चलते चलते। You were everything I need, now you're just a memory. Holding me
आरती
मस्ताने हजारों हैं, मस्ताने हजारों हैं, इन आँखों से वाबस्ता, इन आँखों से वाबस्ता। अफसाने हजारों हैं, अफसाने हजारों हैं, इन आँखों की मस्ती के। एक तुम ही नहीं तन्हा, एक तुम ही नहीं तन्हा, उल्फत में मेरी रुसवा, उल्फत में मेरी रुसवा। इस शहर में तुम जैसे दीवाने हजारों हैं, दीवाने हजारों हैं, इन आँखों की मस्ती के। मस्ताने हजारों हैं, इन आँखों की मस्ती के। एक तुम ही नहीं तन्हा, एक तुम ही नहीं तन्हा, उल्फत में मेरी रुसवा, उल्फत में मेरी रुसवा। इस शहर में तुम जैसे दीवाने हजारों हैं, दीवाने हजारों हैं, इन आँखों की मस्ती के। मस्ताने हजारों हैं, इन आँखों की मस्ती के। हमें तो लूट लिया मिलके इश्क वालों ने, बहुत ही तंग किया अब तक इन ख्यालों ने। नशा चढ़ा जो शरीफी का उतार फेंका है, बेशरम रंग कहाँ देखा दुनिया वालों ने।
It is my great pleasure and privilege, on behalf of the Ladies Study Group, to warmly welcome our esteemed guest of honor, Shrimati Agnimitra Paul, Minister in charge, Department of Urban Development and Municipal Affairs, Government of West Bengal. Your presence makes this occasion even more special for all of us at LSG. As an organization that celebrates women, leadership, purpose, and impact, we deeply value the opportunity to have you amongst us. Your journey and your commitment to public life are an inspiration to women across Bengal. We are delighted that you have taken the time to be here with us and to share this special evening with the Ladies Study Group. On behalf of all our members, I extend you a very warm welcome. Thank you. And now, may I invite Honorable Minister Shrimati Agnimitra Paul and our chairperson, Mrs. Preeti Goenka, to kindly join me on stage. May I request you, ma'am, to please address our audience. Thank you.
Namaskar and a very good evening to all the members, dignitaries who are present here of the Ladies Study Group. It was a wonderful fashion show, and congratulations to my dear friend and sister Anamika Khanna. Was out from this fashion world for the last probably 8 to 10 years. So it feels wonderful, to be part of this program. And Ladies Study Group has been doing wonderful work. I met the president, Inaji, a few days back, along with Madhuji, Madhu Neotia, and Arpita. And I was very keen that Ladies Study Group members join us, our government, and especially my department, UDMA, Urban Development and Municipal Affairs, a department which is working very closely with the people of our city and entire state on a daily basis. Our department deals with water supply to every household. Our department deals with sewage management and solid waste management, segregation of waste from house. We are also into smart cities, developing 5 smart cities in Bengal. We are coming up with 5 Himalayan new cities, though not new, but we'll be developing it and modernizing it with Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Kurseong, Mirik, and Shiliguri. We are planning to develop College Street, our book street, like Oxford Street of London. We plan to develop Tangra, the only Chinatown probably in the entire India. We plan to develop Mayapur, which is an international pilgrimage center. We plan to develop Kuch Bihar and Tomluk, which is a very historical city. We are planning to come up with a ring road. Every city has a ring road, but we, Calcutta, don't have a ring road. So we plan to come up with a ring road in Calcutta. And a new flyover is coming up from just around the corner, where you come down from Ma Bridge, from Baliganj, bypass Dhaba to Rajarhat. There are a lot of plans, and no plan is possible, I feel, until and unless the citizens of the state, of the country, they take it as their work, as their responsibility. So, along with Ladies Study Group and the President, Inuji, I would ask the help of all the members to come up with your ideas how you can be part of any such initiative which we from the government, from various departments and my department are coming up. We are planning to make agarbatti and gulal from the waste of flower and garland which we give to goddesses in the temples, but after that we throw it away. So using those garlands and flowers, we want to do something. We want to ask Anamika and other designers who are present today and through the media friends, all the old clothes, and for us also, the old clothes that we have, we are planning to recycle it and make it of some use, maybe bags. Because from 1st of September, we are imposing a penalty on every citizen who litters the road, spits on the road, or urinates on the road. So 200 to 400 rupees of penalty will be there from 1st of September. And every market will be plastic free, every city will be plastic free. Plastic free for those one-time use bags, one-time plastic use bags which are banned, probably above 125 microns. So we are getting these vending machines in markets, especially in Calcutta, where you just need to, if you forget your bag from your household for marketing, we can use the recycle, the cloth that we will get to use bags. And those bags will be given from the vending machine. You just need to give not money, but a plastic bottle. You insert it and you will get a bag. So these plastics that are there around the world and in India, in the oceans, rivers, everywhere, it is being used for different, things like T-shirts, for roads, in the cement factory, for pavement blocks. So for that also, we have major plans. We have a major plan of having a remedy for the legacy waste. Wherever we go, every city we go, we see we are welcomed by huge mountain of waste, whenever we go to a city. So we have a very comprehensive, we are making a very comprehensive plan, Pan Bengal, so that we can address this issue, and by 2027, we can do away with any kind of garbage and legacy waste which is there, especially in Dhaba, just a few meters from here. So, again, thank you so much, Ladies Study Group, for inviting me over here, and it was wonderful to see such a lovely fashion show and all the members of Ladies Study Group participate. I first actually didn't realize that they are not models and they are our own sisters, because they walked so professionally. I mean, Anamika did a fantastic job in teaching them, and whoever is the choreographer. But again, thank you so much. It feels wonderful to be amongst you, and I always dreamt of doing something for the country, for the people, and probably after 2019, after COVID, till then I was also a designer, and many of the ladies over here were my customers also. But after 2019, with COVID around, and with the inspiration of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, with the zeal and determination and the dream to work under his leadership for my countrymen, for the people of my state, you know, I left everything to develop our country and our state and our beautiful city, City of Joy. So I need your help. Please come forward and be part of this initiative. With our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Shubhendu Adhikari, we are all open we want to welcome all of you with all ideas, initiatives, criticism, everything. We are, ready to accept it and take Bengal forward. We couldn't do much probably in the last few years, but nevertheless, I think we have everything with us, and let's do it with the teamwork. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. That was indeed a very, very inspiring speech. I would also like to thank all our members and invited guests. It was truly a memorable evening, and it is my privilege and honor to thank Anamika Khanna for sharing her journey with us, to hear in her own words how a legacy is built with vision, courage, creativity, and an unwavering sense of self. Thank you, Anamika, for your time, your openness, and for giving us such a wonderful glimpse into your world. My heartfelt thanks to Ms. Kalyani Chawla for steering this conversation with such poise, curiosity, and insight. Her thoughtful questions brought out not just the story of a remarkable career, but also the person behind it. LSG sincerely thanks members of the press for their valuable coverage. Our sincere thanks to ITC Sonar for their generous hospitality and for making us feel so welcome this evening. May I now invite our guest of honor, Ms. Agnimitra Paul, to please come up on stage and present a token of appreciation to our guests. Could I request Anamika and Kalyani to please join us on stage?